afternoon. It is 12:02 on Thursday, December 1st. Welcome to December. And we are here for the Planning Commission. The agenda initially calls for an establishment of quorum, and looking up and down the dais, we do have quorum. Also, if there's anyone who wishes to address the commissioners today and speak at the podium, if you'd raise your right hand. And do you agree to tell everything before this body, everything that you're going to disclose is honest and truthful? All right, thank you, gentlemen. Disposition of the October 20th meeting minutes. I know we had two individuals absent, but Commissioner Bain, Commissioner Kotowski, and myself were present. Any comments on those meeting minutes?
I have none.
Hearing none.
I would move that we accept the minutes as presented for October 20th.
Second.
And a second from Member Bain. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, and two abstentions. All right, cases. We have one case before us today, and this is the University Estates Boulevard Lot 80 minor lot split variance. This is case number 22-07. Director Riggs, do you want to kick us off with?
Thank you, Mayor, and members of the commission. This doesn't happen very often, but we actually do have a variance request for a minor lot split. Sorry.
Let me interrupt real quick before you go on, just to recognize that Commissioner Austin Phillips will be recusing himself from discussion and voting on this particular case.
Is he going?
Thank you.
He's coming back.
Okay.
Yeah, he will return. All right, I'm sorry, Dr.
Yes.
Riggs.
Yeah. So this is a minor lot split. You typically won't see those. Those are handled by staff. A minor lot split is less than 5 lots created from one tract of land. This one does have 4 tracts with a remainder, so there's 5 lots. However, the city code requires that each created lot be at a 3-to-1 ratio or less, and this particular subdivision does not meet that. So the tracts, all 4 of these tracts, have a width to depth ratio that exceeds the 3-to-1. If I could just comment on that. Typically what we want to see in city proper in regular lots is that you don't have a real long narrow lot. That's the purpose of the 3-to-1 ratio. So you don't want a 30-40 foot wide lot that's real deep and then you just have room enough for one room and a door going back. That really doesn't have as much impact with these larger lots. You see these lots are 2-3 acres in size. In my opinion, that 3-to-1 ratio is really for the small city lots and doesn't apply as much to this. However, as staff, we don't have the ability to waive that requirement, and that's why it needs to come to Planning Commission for review and a variance recommendation.
I know that we have John Wharton and Matt Geiser here today. Do either of you want to speak to this? Because I know that the commissioners likely have some questions.
Sure. Do I go here or there?
Right there.
Okay. Yeah, Matt Geiser, and I'm the property owner for this. And I agree with Director Riggs. I mean, he stated pretty clearly what we need is a variance on that 3-to-1. And again, these are pretty large lots. They're 2 to 3 acres, and most of them are over 150 feet wide. There's one that at the road frontage, it's 140, but it widens out when you get about 25 feet back off the road. It's over 150 feet. So there's more than a double lot. I think the city minimum's 50 by 100, so they're almost over 3 city lots wide. So there's plenty of room to build a home up there.
And is that C2 on this map, the one that you said has the more narrow road frontage?
Yeah, C2, I believe, is like 140 at the road, but it's in a curve, so it widens out pretty quickly when it goes back. By the time it gets back to the back, it's almost 400 feet wide.
Questions from the commissioners?
Well, I have one question. So, about a month ago, we received, for informational purposes, a plat map that showed 10 lots. So the 3 parcels that I believe you own divided into 10 lots. Am I to assume that you don't plan to do that with the other create the other 6 lots? But
Was that presented here at a meeting?
I believe so, because I got the plat map for that.
I was unaware of that.
Okay.
I never applied for that I did have a hypothetical conversation about that possibility with Director Riggs, and at the
Okay.
time he informed me that, he's a former surveyor and we were trying to do best planning, like what would be a good plan for this.
Okay.
Those other lots, I can't, it depends on how this goes and what we do. The city needs housing, so if there's a easy way for me to do that and I can do some housing up there in the future, I'm not gonna negate that, but at this point in time, that's not what I'm looking to do
Okay.
in the near future.
So basically, you're not doing this to get around the notion of a major subdivision, the major subdivision requirements, right? I think if it were more than 5 lots, it would be major subdivision requirements.
Well,
That's correct.
I'm not I don't know the code well enough to speak to that, but my understanding is it's more than 5 lots per parcel, not per owner. So if I own 3 parcels, I can split each one of those 5 times.
Okay.
So no, that even if I did all 3 of those today on 3 different applications, I don't believe that would fall into a major subdivision.
Okay.
They would each be a minor.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Are you seeking to change the zoning?
No, this is residential.
Well, this one here is residential, the other is a B3. This one's an R3.
I'm not working on those other 2 lots today, and I
Yeah.
really can't speak to
Okay.
what.
Yeah, but you don't have any intention of making it R1 or seeking an R1 for this at all?
No, because single-family residential is allowed in R3, so
Yeah,
it
okay,
makes sense to keep it that way.
okay,
It's a lot quicker and easier.
okay. That's all I have.
Yeah, Matt, a question for you, just more from a topographical standpoint, the portions of these lots that's furthest away from the boulevard, are they buildable, or is it steep terrain? Can you give me some sense as to?
You mean in the back of it?
Yeah.
So what we did is on these lots, I had Scott England, the surveyor, put pins at 150 and 300 feet back, which was in at 300 feet back, which would be twice the road frontage on most of them. It's still buildable. When you get past that 300-foot mark, it gets pretty steep. And actually, in the back of these, there's some rock face with some caves and that kind of stuff on lot 2. No, in my opinion, and I've done quite a bit of building, I would say the back half of these is not buildable. You can build on it. We see stuff on cliffs. There's certain people that build on things that amaze me, put swimming pools in, all kinds of stuff on cliffs, but these are not really that feasible to build on in the back. The front's very nice though, at the top.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out and anticipate that the builds would be closer to the boulevard than further back.
Well, I'm not building on these, but I would assume that they're gonna be in the front 300 feet. That's a football field off the road, so you still have, but yeah, I would assume they're gonna be up there. And in conversations I've had with people, I believe that's where they would wanna build.
Mr. Bain?
Hi, Matt. What's
Good.
lot number 4? Can you tell me what's gonna happen on that lot?
I have no idea.
Well, what about the fact that it's got a high-pressure gas line under it, doesn't it?
Yeah, like a lot of lots up there and the street and everything else. There's a 50-foot 25 feet on each side of that line, there's a 50-foot right-of-way that cannot be built in. Being that that lot's over, I think it's like 500 feet, 600 feet deep, that 50-foot strip, I don't think is going to hinder someone from building a home somewhere on that. There's plenty of building space on that, regardless of the.
And how will you
Gas line.
address this as you market them?
In regards to what?
The right-of-way, the whatever it is, the buffer along on either side of the line? I mean, is it gonna, it isn't really, it's deceptive. I was deceived at first, to me anyway. The lot looks like it might better, well, I don't know. It might better front on whatever isn't at the bottom of there. Nothing's there, so I won't do it. Ask that question.
Are you
but-
asking how I would market this as a real estate agent? Like
Yeah,
listing?
you're a real estate agent, aren't you?
Oh, well, this is, yeah, but this isn't a listing packet. This is just a survey that you guys have.
But
yeah,
you're gonna have to defend this with a buyer if the buyer's not beware. You know, there's,
or it
it's a,
doesn't sound, I mean, it's very well disclosed. I mean, the gas line is marked. It's
No.
got, you know, stakes.
only in a,
No, I mean, if you go up to the site and look at it, it's very
Is it
well
marked?
marked. And by law, by license law, yes, I have to disclose that. And it will be very well disclosed and marked and evident that in that 50-foot strip, they cannot build a home.
so
or
why
any
not turn it
structure.
into open space? Lot
Because I
4.
can't sell open space, Nancy.
Well, you can sell it as for ambiance, come on. It's part of the environment.
I mean, if the city wants to buy it for open space, I'll sell it to them.
I don't think the city wants to buy anything right now. They're looking for a
There's
place to run
there's over
bicycles.
500 acres of green space up there, right behind this property. There's lots of green space, open space for what used to be considered what was going to be the golf course. So
How many variances do you think a user would have to use lot number 4?
to build a home on it, none.
Yeah.
None.
So it'll be back like that, right? It'll look like it's out of line. The normal thing is to have a setback of, what, 25, 30 feet? I know up there in the upper income area, it may not be that, but I just don't see how you can.
I think if you're looking at it on that paper, Nancy, it looks smaller, but when you go up there, there are lots across the street
That are
that
very
have nice
small.
homes on, and if I took one of those lots and put it in front or behind that gas line, it would fit. So, I mean, that's a large lot. You're talking several acres there, over 2 acres, and so a normal lot inside University Estates, you could put 2 or 3 of those homes on that lot.
Up here,
and-
you mean,
Yeah, on lot number 4.
compared to down?
And you would not have to worry about the gas line. There's a lot of room.
Yeah, it appears that there's room on the boulevard side of that gas line, gas main, and then again, just for my edification on this, is that the back portion, is that buildable too, or is that?
On
have
that
the
lot, it
rock-
actually is more buildable. Lots 1, 2, and 3 are a bit steeper. And lot 3 starts to level off, and then lot 4, if you cross the gas line right away, there's a lot of buildable space behind that. And it's actually a pretty neat view because that gas line right away is all cut and trimmed. And if you go up there and stand that gas line right away, you can see the convo, you can see the city. I mean, it's an amazing view on that lot 4. I think it's, you know, when you get behind the gas line, it's one of the nicer lots to build on.
Yeah,
Where
I guess
it's
this is sorry,
Where it's cut, you know, you can see it from there. Where you can't build.
well, they kind of have to do that, but yes, I know.
Come on.
There's a question for Commissioner Stone or Director Riggs. I know that we had challenges with our property down at the end of Kenny Drive, which also has a high-pressure gas main, but a drive or a driveway is that permissible to build over?
They'll watch you when you build it.
Okay.
The gas company, anytime you call to do any construction around one of them, they send a guy out, they watch. But typically driving across one is permissible. You know, certainly in the land that the city owns, that has high-pressure gas lines on, we've built driveways across those.
And I can, when we developed Homestead Court up there, well, we put the road to grade, we crossed that same gas line, University Estates, and then there's homes over on Walnut that cross it, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they want an air bridge.
Questions from you?
I'll vote for 1, 2, 3, but not for 4.
Okay. Since this is a case before us, would someone like to make a motion to adopt these changes?
I move.
Motion? Got a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Commissioner Katowski. Any further discussion?
I'm going to vote no because I think, anyway, I think it's not necessarily the best for the city.
I think we have more discussion if somebody wants to hear it.
Yeah, I'd love some more discussion.
Go, John. Is he hurting?
I'm standing here wearing 3 hats. Bill Turman and I were one of the first of the 3 original approved builders, starting in 2005 at University Estates. Another hat is a property owner. I live up there. And the 3rd hat, I guess, is a realtor. I represent some people that have expressed interest in and have signed contracts to buy a couple of these lots. Probably the most important one being as a property owner and on a homeowners association board with Austin. Being that this was zoned R3, it allowed for multi-unit housing. Originally, it was going to be the clubhouse, I think, when Dr. Conard started. Since it allows multi-unit housing, this acreage it's being proposed to be divided and sold to single-family homes is much better for us as a property owner up there. We don't want to see apartments up there because tenants tend to not have much vested interest in the community and drive fast, throw trash all over the place, and they just don't care as much as people that are typically are homeowners. So having 3 or 4 houses where there could have been 200 people is by far preferred by myself and other property owners up there that live there. As a realtor, I really don't, I'm not that concerned about the commission. It's, you're selling vacant land. It's, Matt's not giving me any bonus. I'm not getting very much money. So if the deal goes through one way or the other. But we would be able to have 2 of the 3 people that have already signed contracts live in the development. They want to stay in the development. It's a very attractive development for families to live in, and I think this will enhance the development, having, you know, potentially 4 homes that are owner occupied versus 200 or 300 tenants. At the same time, working with the people that have proposed Woods Edge in the back, again, those will be owner occupied, and the concern up there is just the speeding that occurs, which is why the city was nice enough to put in speed bumps, which I'd love to see more of them. But I just thought you'd like to have input from somebody that lives there.
I have a question. I have a question. So Mr. Ward, in your capacity as a homeowner that lives in the area, and all the capacities, one of the things you brought up was drivers traveling through. We've heard complaints here from some of your fellow residents recently about only one way in and out of University Estates. I'm curious as to the position of the Homeowners Association as to when no more development should occur before a roadway is required to access the back end of University Estates from another place.
Really, that's not been a big topic amongst, actually, it's been no topic, quite honestly. I know I've been included in emails from Sylvia, and that hasn't really been an issue to us. The speeding has been the issue. Do I think it's something that should be addressed? Yeah. I think that it would be, what concerns me in my response yesterday to Austin and other board members was, as with most people that live on the other side of the railroad tracks, I get concerned, what if a train is going through and you need to get an ambulance or a fire engine out there? And having that second access that was originally platted there, Greenbrier, I think it was called, That isn't doing you any good to solve that problem, okay? You still gotta get beyond the train track. So having a access coming from Slater's, you know, that end by the plains, yeah, long-term, that'd be great, you know? Especially as more people live there, you know, as you're coming south on 33 and you live in the development, man, you save driving all the way around to get home. It's just that that would be a pretty pricey, you know, you got to acquire the land and build the street, and that's not going to be cheap. It'll take all of your street budget for 4 or 5 years to help 50 people. I don't think that's going to happen, okay? So it'd be nice, but that really hasn't been, we haven't gotten a lot of pushback from people in the community. You know, last year at our annual homeowners association meeting, the speed bumps was by most people welcome, but we had one resident that, when we opened it up to general discussion, said that, you know, she didn't like them because she had to slow down or else her car would scrape. And we're like, yeah, that's why they're called speed bumps, you know? It's like, hello, yeah. But you know, the speeding has been the bigger issue, not having a second access. I don't think the second access, even if Woods Edge gets built, it's only going to be like 50 units, 52 units, something like that. And that's why having it deed restricted, that it has to be owner occupied for 5 years, is sort of important. And it's going to be ADA compliant. And it's just housing that's needed. David asked me at one of our meetings with the developers, what do the residents up there think about this? Do they want it or not? I said, oh no, they don't want it. Well, you know, why do they want 50 more homeowners driving up down the street speeding? Okay, that isn't the issue. Okay, I mean that doesn't matter. You need that kind of housing. Okay, in Athens, everybody's got like not my backyard philosophy. You can't do that. You know, it's a good place to have it. It's just we need to control the speeding, and having speed bumps and maybe more of them that causes you to slow down, it's probably a good idea, okay? So, but no, we haven't had any, yeah.
Thank you. I can't imagine that you'd have, you know, not everybody have the same opinion on a particular topic here in Athens. The only reason I brought that up is over the weekend we had a situation where we had a down tree on Old Coach Road. You know, similar type situation with Oakmont, a very deep development with one way in and out. And what you just described is something that was a concern, and from my other perspective as the safety director for the city. Thank you for your input.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah, you sure can.
And follow up with Andy's point there. I don't know if John remembers this, but in 2014, when I acquired that property, John let me know very quickly that his grandkids lived right next to that property, because that's where Brian's house was. And if I thought I was going to put multifamily or apartments up there, that I'd be in a lawsuit. And I guess my point to yours, Andy, is that, I mean, right now that's R3 multifamily, and I've had multiple offers on that over the years that would net me a lot more money than this, and I've refused to put apartments up there because of the area and the neighborhood. And the most recent one was the WODA project. I had 3 developers, you know, offering significant money for that property, and I just didn't think that was a good project for the neighborhood. So, you know, to your point of, you know, one way in or out, you're taking something that could potentially be 200 to 300, you know, people and reducing it down to 4 family homes. So I think in that aspect, this is a good project as well.
Well, we also need places for people to live, although we need places for people to live where they can build equity, and I don't know that apartments is necessarily that, so, thank you.
Okay. Any other discussion from either Mr. Wharton or Mr. Geiser?
Could I ask a question? When was the pipeline put in? I don't normally go by this place, so I don't drive up and down your
Well,
street.
before University Estates was ever developed.
Are you sure?
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
No, it's not been put in while University Estates was there, I know for a fact. Dr. Conrad even lived at my house. I was involved in it early on, and it was in long before this, yes.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I mean, I'm sure that gas line is servicing, you know, the plains or whatever, and they had to cut through somewhere. Okay. Any other questions, comments? All right, this has been fruitful, I believe. We have a motion, I believe, and we have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Oppose?
Me.
One opposition. It passes. We can have Austin come back in again. Okay, welcome back, Commissioner Phillips.
Thanks.
Communications, we don't have any today. So moving on, any reports from the Director of Development and Code Enforcement or any updates from City Planner Paul Logue? I know he's not here, of course.
Yeah, I haven't any feedback from Paul. He does send emails occasionally. We just got one for some other work that was going on, but I don't know, sir, Andy, if you've got any update on Paul.
The only thing I would request is perhaps you could update the commissioners, unless you did so at the last meeting that I was absent on the Marietta Memorial corner.
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a couple things going on with the with Marietta Memorial. We did get approval from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Floodplain Administration, to allow them to begin work. So I called them middle of last week, I think Tuesday. Told them that we were ready for them to go ahead and start earthwork whenever they needed to do that. They will have to submit some additional zoning and land development permits, but they've got a temporary land development permit in place right now, so they could start construction. I was hoping that they would start this week. I haven't seen any activity out there yet. I did talk to the architect for the project, and he says that they will try to do some work this year, and they expect an opening spring of 2023.
Excellent. Good news.
They're building that site.
Um,
It's like a prefab thing. Bring in big
Announcements and other business. Our next meeting will be December 15th here in council chambers at noon. That is if we have things, communications that come forward, because we don't have any cases outstanding that, at least in my memory. Patty, do we? Any communications that might come forward as a case, or Director Riggs? No, okay, I didn't think so. We also have, as one of our duties, the ability to appoint somebody to the Athens County Regional Planning Commission. Regional Planning Commission is a body that brings forward and discusses county-wide projects such as the Route 50 sewer extension, county sewer extension, and a sundry of other things that we have been discussing, everything from the Johnson Road closure and the impact that that has had on 682, and certainly asking ODOT. I know we've got Rob Delac, who's here with us today in the audience. Rob serves on the Regional Planning Commission as well. So we do need to appoint a city council member to the Regional Planning Commission. Councilmember Spielness has submitted her resume, her short bio anyway, and is willing to serve, and so therefore I would like this body to consider appointing Commissioner Sylvain Spielness as the city council appointee to the Regional Planning Commission.
I move.
Motion from Commissioner Stone,
I'll second.
and a second from Commissioner Phillips. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right. Congratulations, Councilmember Spielness. Motion for adjournment, since we have no more business, unless I'm missing something. Okay.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.